Dave Besant, one of the few goalkeeper captains in the Football League, appears to have won the toss from Ronnie Whelan, and so he'll make Liverpool play towards the Kop end. £800,000 worth of the Paul Gascoigne transfer money spent, of course, in the summer on Besant, and a bit more too on Andy Thorne, another of Wimbledon's Cup heroes, playing in front of him, who'll be hoping to contain Aldridge and Beardsley, the men who've got the game going. And plenty of people making this one a home banker this afternoon. Gary Ablett at left back, looking for Spackman down the line, and Liverpool get an early throw on the far side. Ablett knocking it forward to Beardsley, and then Spackman appealing for the corner and getting it. Another good crowd in, as you can probably hear. Obviously well up on the Walsall crowd in midweek. Gillespie, the scorer, number 2, up for it early on and getting a touch across. And Beardsley to retrieve it. Didn't go over. Referee Mike Peck right on hand to see that Dave Besant had gathered it before conceding a second corner. Typically long kick by the former Wimbledon man. Steve Nicol underneath it with the sun in his eyes. David McCreary getting the header in. Gary Ablett keeping it down on the floor and playing a nice 1-2 with Aldridge, and then Beardsley knocked away from him though. Foul by Gillespie. He's playing in the centre of the defence, of course. Newcastle with only Wimbledon below them in the league going into this game. Big number 5 for Kevin Scott, up for the corner, and that's towards Mirandinha. Scott again laying it square, and nicely outside to Jackson, with Mirandinha lurking in the middle, and Gillespie just getting his foot on top of it. Beardsley against McCreary, but losing out. And another free kick as Steve Staunton, the number 11, challenges his opposite number, Paul Stevenson. Steve Staunton on as a substitute at Southampton last week and getting a Littlewoods game in midweek. Here he is defending against some good wing play. That's knocked out and laid off well by Aldridge for Ray Houghton down the right. Houghton in front of us with Nigel Spackman outside him. Steve Nicol joining in too. And Nichol's cross in, a deflection. Yes, and another corner. Early pressure then on that Newcastle goal. And they've seen plenty of that in their away games this season. And I shouldn't think they're expecting anything very different this afternoon. Houghton waving his arms at the back. It goes towards Gillespie, and it's in! Gary Gillespie, for the second time this week, makes the breakthrough for Liverpool. This time, though, as early as the 3rd minute. Right wing corner, Steve Nicol went up but didn't get a touch, and a lovely twisting header by Gillespie, with Dave Besant nowhere near it. The goal scorer Gillespie to take the kick. Handball against Paul Stevenson, the number 11. Whelan and Staunton on the ball. Ablett to their left, down the wing. Big men gathering at the far post. This is where Staunton curls it in. Oh, just over Gillespie's head. Michael O'Neill getting it away. Only for Beardsley to pick it up again and put Aldridge in. With the lob, which was perhaps a bit ambitious. May have thought that Dave Besant was just coming a little too far. For Darren Jackson. Back to Thorne. Clearance rather hasty, under a bit of pressure. Now Houghton looking for Steve Nicol, who's made a good run. And it's Anderson who has to come across and concede another corner. The position then from which the first goal came. This time it's a short one, played in, but taken out. Jackson on the far side. Stevenson outside him. McCreary arriving in support and changing the direction a bit. Now little Mirandinha. Often likes a dig from here. There it goes, and the deflection could have been nasty because Michael O'Neill, the number 10, was in there. But it ran kindly for Hooper. Poor kick from him, but good work by Spackman to retrieve the ball. Foul by David McCreary, according to Mr. Peck. Ablett's chip forward for Staunton down the line. And Andy Thorne decides to concede another corner. So very much what Newcastle must have feared so far. A lot of pressure. Gillespie in again for another corner. Finding it difficult even to break out. Ray Houghton now. A chance for Gillespie again. McCreary furious, but they allowed Gillespie to get in there and almost paid the penalty. Good cross driven in past 3-4 players. Gillespie got on the other side of McCreary, and fortunately for Newcastle, didn't really connect. Referee Peck urging them to get on with it. Newcastle must feel comparatively safe when they've got the ball out of play. When they get it back in play that the trouble starts. Here's Mirandinha finding himself hopelessly outnumbered. Gillespie and Houghton, and Gillespie keeps going and might go even further. Looking to get the shot in, which he does. And Besant has to sprawl to make the save. Mike Cooper then not getting a great deal to do at the moment in the Liverpool goal. O'Neill then. It's a useful chip forward for Hendry. And he's got on and he's done it. John Hendry's first goal of the season, and what a place to get it. And some cheer at last for those supporters. Well, it was a fine ball down the left, and look at Hendry going right away from Jan Molby, who's never going to get to him there, but very difficult angle with Gillespie arriving and Hooper coming out. He still found the corner. So one apiece in the first half hour here at Liverpool, back straight away. But that's an unexpected twist. Steve Nicol then, Liverpool roused again as Houghton drives it in, and Aldridge couldn't quite get there, but he was not very far away. Lovely build-up, perfectly timed pass and run and cross, and Aldridge just couldn't slide onto it. They've got the corner. Knock back for Ronnie Whelan. Whelan and Ablett trying to work it through. Beardsley's chip towards Ablett and Aldridge. Oh, and Besant onto the bar. Well, Newcastle were almost behind again. Lovely little bit of play by Beardsley. Ablett's flick, Aldridge's head, and Dave Besant foiling Aldridge again. Newcastle would quite like their half-time cup of tea at this stage, I think. No great hurry. Mirandinha fairly quiet so far. Here are possibilities. He thought he was fouled. Has a little dig at Mulby himself. Now Ablett and Hendry, and that will be a corner. Well, now, have Newcastle got another shock in store? Little word with Hendry. I think Mr. Peck pointing out that he did see that it was a corner and didn't need telling. Not very many striped shirts forward. Rather outnumbered there. O'Neill to lay it across though. Kenny Wharton coming to retrieve it and winning another one. Again, just the two men in the 6-yard box until Mirandinha gets over there, whereupon one withdraws a bit. Work short, just down in front of us. Finds Mirandinha eventually, looking for the little nudge and worming his way through and shooting too, and Hooper has to turn it away. Well, what an individual goal that would have been from the Brazilian. Let's look at this again. One little flick. Away from Beardsley too. And Mike Hooper did well in the end. So a little spell of Newcastle pressure. To which their fans respond most warmly. Mirandinha's leg again, getting that one in. But offside. And that is half-time, and that's a very improved 45 minutes for Newcastle. Well and heavily beaten at Sheffield United in midweek. Made some changes, and despite going down to a third-minute goal by Gary Gillespie, they picked themselves up again. And John Hendry has given us a half-time score of Liverpool 1, Newcastle 1. So, an unexpectedly encouraging position for Newcastle as they kick off the second half. Only scored 5 goals in 8 games before this afternoon, so Hendry's goal was all the more welcome. In fact, Charlton was the only other ground on which they'd managed to get one. They picked up a couple in a 2-2 draw, although Charlton were down to 10 men in the second half. And that's an early corner at the Kop end. Andy Thorne coming forward at the far side of the penalty area. Stevenson, number 11, waiting on the edge. Again, not exactly packing the box. Staunton to retrieve it, just down by the halfway line. Gary Ablett and Whelan giving Staunton a run down to the corner. Kept it in, but didn't manage to win the corner, which was what he was aiming for. Now then, the flick on by Aldridge. Spackman down in the corner. Nicely played out by John Anderson, the number 2. Whelan and Houghton and Nicol. Made a nice run and got the header in, but Dave Besant nicely positioned to hold it. Embry, nice little layoff, and Stevenson through. Tidied up by Mulby. Staunton and Spackman winning it. Finding Beardsley, and now Houghton to have a run at Scott. Whelan and Aldridge. And that time I don't think Besant did get a touch. It was just too high, though it was a clear opportunity. The first one really of this second half. Whelan's lovely ball. Aldridge, as you can see, clearly onside. Very loosely marked, but not able to keep it down. So Liverpool have decided that Ian Rush is required. Steve Staunton, the man who makes way for him. And Rush comes on to look for that first goal since his return, to add to the 195 which he scored before he went away. Here he is straight away against Thorn. Have to see how Liverpool sort themselves out up front. And here's Mirandinha. They're having to sort themselves out in defence, which Ablett does well. Peter Beardsley presumably will just drop a little bit deeper, with Rush joining Aldridge up front. Good half hour left though for Ian Rush to make an impression. Beardsley going over to take the corner and get the booze. Whelan. Nicol. And Rush. Nicely played in. And yet another corner as Michael O'Neill got his foot in. Rush taking up his place just on the edge of the 6-yard box. Centre of the picture, now moving right to the goal line. Nigel Spackman, the number 6, has a bit of space. It goes towards him. It's flicked on, in fact, for Aldridge, and David McCreary on the line, thwarting Aldridge that time. Back again through Gillespie. He's chipped to the far side. Well, the corner driven in, Spackman went for it, but in fact before he got there it was Steve Nicol who backheaded it across, which caught Newcastle a little bit, and David McCreary inside the post. And they're going to pick up a free kick for that. Thorne's challenge on Aldridge judged illegal. So Liverpool will apply a little bit more pressure. Mulby and Whelan on it. Enticing little gap just inside the far post there. And if one of them might fancy a go at that. Isn't moving across to cover it. Mulby does. A little too high. Gillespie winning that one comfortably. And Houghton, a nice one too, and beautifully laid off again by Beardsley and then by Rush, and now Houghton to go at goal and try and put Rush in. Thorne stabs it away. Well, it was a lovely little build-up, 2 or 3 first-time passes. Looked for a minute as if Houghton might go on and shoot himself, but he tried to put Rush in. And Thorne just got his foot in there to concede yet another corner. Gillespie again there for it. It comes shorter to Nicol, his flick on. Michael O'Neill up the line. Whelan given the chance to send a long cross in. Isn't punch. Stab back, and here's a chance. And Spackman's shot. Well hit, but nicely taken too. Well, when Besant punched, Spackman was completely unmarked there. Aldridge had a lot of space too. It was nicely laid off and might just have hit the post and crept in. Here they come again. Beardsley, past one. Rush in there. And the goal kick. 2-3 suffering Newcastle defenders. Well, I don't know who's going to look after all this lot. And home supporters reluctant to believe there are 3 in trouble. Stevenson's foul. Ray Houghton's crossfield pass to Nicol. Laid off by Aldridge. Houghton caught out that time. Nicol having come right across from right back to outside left. And beating his man too. It's the versatility of Nicol. It set up Spackman, who completely missed his kick. Still there with Whelan. And they get an offside flag. Besant's kick could be interesting. Hendry goes down, and they want a penalty, and they've got one. Hendry going down under the challenge from Gillespie, and with only 7 minutes left, we have a Newcastle penalty. Well, what a moment for Mirandinha. And what a test, a penalty with 7 minutes to play at the Kop end. Going to make sure the ball's in the right place and the players are in the right place. And it's Mirandinha against Hooper. And it's in. And he's very happy with himself. The Kop, understandably, don't think much of it. And the Newcastle players, I think, telling him to get back and get on with it. But this could mean a real sensation. Didn't strike it as he might have done, but Hooper was going to the right. And Newcastle now sending on their substitute. Robertson for O'Neill are on the brink of a sensation. Liverpool unbeaten in the league this season. Newcastle without an away win or anything like, just 1 point, 1 draw from all their away visits. A home banker, I would think, on most Paul's coupons, but with 6 minutes left, it's Newcastle who lead 2-1, and they're still there through the substitute Robertson. Well, Liverpool have got to do something about this pretty quickly. It's Beardsley and Whelan. Ablett arriving in support. And a touch on towards Thorne, and Whelan in! And it looked for a moment as if the captain was going to pull them level. Ablett's cross, little touchdown, and Thorne, perhaps worried about handball even, didn't quite get there. Whelan did. So, tantalisingly, Newcastle within touching distance. But will a famous victory still be snatched away from them? And the linesman, I think, has spotted a little push. Again, Newcastle conceding free kicks in dangerous positions. Ronnie Whelan on it. Beardsley waving more players forward. Mulby arrives as well. And one of them might fancy a shot. Whelan! It wasn't far away. Ablett back. Ablett's long one. Rush waiting for the rebound. Here's Rush. Beardsley looking for him again, and Beardsley drifts past the ball. Oh, the deflection almost took it away from Besant. Conceded the corner, but it looked just for a moment as if Beardsley was going to strike lucky. His shot, that wicked deflection, and Besant was going the wrong way but recovered. Well, is the big goalkeeper going to thwart them again just like he did at Wembley? Rush in there, Rush takes a bang, but Liverpool get nothing out of it. A painful blow for Ian Rush. But Newcastle survive. Courageous throw by Ronnie Whelan. And what a result this would be too for the Newcastle manager, Willie McFall. Inevitably a lot of talk about his job and how secure it is, the way the results have gone. And they're threatening to give him another goal as Hendry goes in. Thought he might have got a corner out of it. But instead, Newcastle have got a remarkable victory. The team who'd managed just 1 draw and just 2 goals away from home have come to Anfield and ended Liverpool's unbeaten record. Something to think about for all those who saw the title becoming one-way traffic again. Encouragement for Newcastle and their manager. A marvellous afternoon for those supporters. It's finished Liverpool 1, Newcastle United 2.